So I thought I'll make a quick video. This is maybe we can discuss down in the comments, but this is kind of an advice for people who are new to engineering. And this is not super technical stuff. It's definitely not technical at all. It is common sense. Okay, it's common sense. If you're somebody who likes to make your problem somebody else's problem, then you're not going in the right direction, honestly. You are gonna end up with so many issues down the line, especially when it comes to career progression. It's unbelievable. Okay? It's like something is slow, it's somebody else's problem. API is not returning the data, is somebody else's problem. But it seems like everything else is somebody else's problem. And some people become so good at with this, they will kind of make your head spin, because they will be so confident in with their words and everything they say that it's your problem. Yeah, obviously, if API is not returning the data it's supposed to return, it could be their problem. I have been working with somebody who's consuming data from our API, and they're supposed to just get the data from, we have added a pagination on the API, so just get the data. It returns 20 records, 30 records per page. They're supposed to get the data and then just store that, do the manipulation, whatever they're supposed to do, and then store that into the database, all of it. Pretty simple, right? There is nothing crazy about that. Even if the data is a lot, if you guys are engineers, there's nothing crazy about that. There's nothing overly complicated there. What would you do? Right? Like, honestly, what would you do? How would you process this if you're just supposed to just get the token, get the data, and store it into the database? It's simple. There is nothing complicated, because there is not. Yeah. You would, I don't know, maybe write a loop or something, go from page to page, get all the data, store it. That's the most basic step there. And obviously this person has been doing the same. They're trying to grab the data. But what happens sometimes, there is a timeout. Okay, there is a timeout. Now, I don't know if the timeout is from our side or from their side, but there is a timeout, which kind of breaks the connection. Okay, so my common sense tells me, and your common sense should also tell you the same, that if this happens, your application should be able to kind of continue working. If you miss certain data, you should be able to continue working and then pick that data later on somehow. But what happens when there's a timeout? Let's say there's 1,000,000 records and the timeout happens at 999,000 record, literally right towards the end. If the timeout happens, then your application breaks, right? You have stored the data so far, but because you have designed API in certain way, it will not pick from there. You'll have to wipe the database again and then literally start from zero. It seems like a good case where you could just say something like, it's a problem of the person who designed the API, and we should make sure the server doesn't time out and things like that. Fair enough, fair enough. But if you're a good engineer, you need to be able to find a work around this, because this is one of the simplest problems in engineering. Maybe you need to store IDs somewhere. Maybe you need to kind of check the database before inserting. Maybe you need some sort of cache. Maybe you need queues somewhere. Push the data into the queue to be retried. Maybe give it a gap. So it's retried after a certain time. You need to find a way. But as soon as you start saying things like, this is not my problem, you're kind of just checking out, and your progress to learn to dig deeper into things, find workarounds, hack things around, you're not gonna do none of that. You kind of just checked out. So don't be this type of person. I'll say design your things as if the other side is design your things with like these sort of things in mind. Yeah, API can time out, something can break. I don't want to go through everything again. Maybe I should design my system in that way. That's good engineer. Be like this person.